Okay, I want to add a little more creativity to your design. One thing is I think with the background, let's make part of the background your own. Okay, and what I mean by that is instead of being an image, why don't you create something from scratch? And so like this floor or table, I went online and I found tons of tutorials. I searched wood floor Photoshop tutorials, tons of tutorials that will show you step by step how to create that own texture yourself. And so I'd spent about I just did about 15 minutes and I was able to create something. And so what I did, I brought it in, okay, that I created in Photoshop, and then what you do is once you bring it in, you go up to edit, transform, perspective. You take this bottom right and just move it out to create that perspective. So it gives it the depth that you want. Now the other aspect, I mean, again, just doing stuff like that really helps enhance Photoshop. All you're doing here is just add an image. Let's take that next step. I want to encourage all of my students to take that next step. Then the next thing I would work with is your text. Now, to me, just using this font that's down here, um, Jokerman is not really to me, that Mexican vibe that you can work with. Now, what I did was I just went out and did a search. I searched Mexican style Photoshop, and look at these different styles here that you can get some examples from. I also found some fonts I can work with as well, and which went in and downloaded a font and I installed it on my machine. So let's just see what happens here. I think it's Taco Modern Taco Modern. It's a little bit different, similar to what you have there with Jokerman, I guess. But again, it's something that it's a little bit different look for that. So again, because of the arch and the font choice that we're working with, it doesn't fit the whole flipping food Fred in there, so we would have to adjust that accordingly. But the other thing you could do here, let's just let's take that warp away. None. Okay. And usually what I do is I find myself needing to put the text on different layers. Instead of flipping food Fred on one layer, I put flipping food on, maybe on separate layers. Makes it easier. Now in this case, I will have to let me just make this a little bit larger. This text or this color, so I can see what's going on here. Okay. So just because I changed the font, you know, instead just takes the time, look some other fonts out there, okay? And then the other thing is, there's styles that you might be able to utilize, different text effects. This would be interesting if you can create something like this. You know, some different interesting looks that you can work with, and I'm just amazed about how many things you can find out there. And so if you're trying to make it more of a Mexican feel to it, then that's what I'm going to suggest that you do is look for some different fonts, look for some different styles, text effects. Oh, there's that. Goes to that one. Some of the stuff you don't want to pay for anything. So if it's asking to pay for something, don't pay for it. Just look for free stuff, that you can go in. And I think this one here you have to subscribe to get this styling. This would be a great style to look at because that would definitely throw in. Now you can create something with your styling, but I also think as we work with this, um, I want to bring out the name as well. And I think, like for example, flipping through Fred. I think really what we'll probably have to do is let me cut out Fred, and I'm going to put Fred on its own layer. text, because then what we can do here, make it a little bit larger so it stands out. And then Fred, we can definitely make it really large so it stands out as well. So we can say, hey, we know the name of the character. Now what will happen is with this, anytime you have like the clipping, that yellow text makes it a little bit harder to read, so maybe we have to go in and explore the styling. Let's see, let's do a stroke. Okay, we can change that color. Maybe look, see what it looks like on the outside instead of the inside. You can blend, might have effect. You definitely want to, So again, you're exploring that aspect of going and adding a little extra, and that's all I'm encouraging you to try to do for your